Welcome back to a brand new video. Today is a video I almost didn't make. Let me explain. I got my hands on it fresh out of the box last week with all intentions of making a video last week, and I hated it. The pads, the standard pads, it's great they're included. Way too small for my ankles, or digging into my ankles. I feel like it might be almost directed towards a kid's size leg. The suspension was way too soft. The tire was probably the worst part about the wheel. Anything over 20 kilometers per hour, it would do this weird train tracking. You couldn't really carve on it. It just did not feel secure, if that makes sense. So took it back to the shop, we pulled it apart. We put the stiffer spring in it because it does come with a secondary set of springs, which is designed for 90+ kilo riders, up to its max of 120 kilograms. We put the off-road knobby on it, and we ripped off the standard pads and we put on a set of Bedell BD3s. And well, the reason I'm making this video today is because it is night and day. It does not feel like the same wheel. It is so much fun. It is so nimble. I want to ride it more to learn to become a better rider, if that makes sense. So I hope you enjoy this video. We're gonna go for a cruise along the bike path here. There's a little bit of grass, a little bit of off-road. It's gonna be mainly trail or track riding, should I say, not trail. I'm gonna talk about the wheel, talk about the specs. I'm gonna tell you about one thing about this wheel that frustrates me. It's not a deal breaker, but it frustrates me that they had this as an oversight. But we'll talk about that very soon. Alright, so first of all, let's talk about the weight of the wheel. It's coming in around 25 kilos, which for what you get is very, very light. Now, I know some people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I have already tested it out. My 9-year-old can ride this wheel, and she was able to ride it on her 3rd attempt. So the weight is very balanced and it's very manageable. It's got a 1500 watt motor which peaks out at around 2800 watts. Has a 900 watt hour battery, but it is a 100 volt system and it is running the 50S cells. Now it is a high torque motor and you can feel that torque. You know, for a small unit, it accelerates really nicely and brakes beautifully. Now that we've got those pads on properly, the BD3s, you can really lean into this. And when you want to take it off road, you can, really bunny hop this wheel quite easily. Woo, gotta get my balance point correct. But it really is, I think, what I would almost classify as a stunt wheel. If you're an experienced rider and you wanna have lots of fun and learn new tricks, I feel like the Falcon could be the right mix of power and weight. Now, looking at the peripherals or the extras you get with the wheel, you get some really nice spiked pedals, which do grip onto your shoes beautifully. It's got a really nice, simple to use trolley handle. It doesn't lock into place, but when you're pushing and walking with it, it actually has no issues at all. It's quite nice to walk backwards with it like this. Mudguard and built-in stand, and a reasonably bright headlight as well, which can be height adjusted. Now, like I was saying in the intro, the changes that I've made to this wheel have taken it from meh to I want to keep this in my garage and ride it daily, just to help me with little things like, learning a better jump technique, or learning to ride backwards a little bit better, because it's that little bit extra heavy, a little bit extra weight compared to like the M104 or the V8S. But that suspension, now that we've put the stiffer spring in, is just so much fun, because you can hit those obstacles, you can go over tree roots, all that sort of thing, go downstairs, And you've got a fair bit of confidence there. So I've got the beep set to 40. You've got the confidence there that it's not going to bottom out. Now the top speed of the Falcon comes in just under 50 kilometers per hour. You're looking at around 48.8, I think it is, 30 miles an hour. But it does accelerate up to that speed very, very easily. At 45 plus, it just feels like it's cruising. It's not straining, it's not stressing. It's just a comfortable wheel at those speeds. Oof. And again, I think it comes down to that battery, that 100-volt system, and that lightweight construction of 25 kilos. I think it's 55 pounds from memory. But these pads, the BD3s that we've put on it, are just game-changing for this wheel. Before, at this speed, let me just show you. With the street tire on, we found at about this speed here, you'd go like this. And that was, anything over that just felt horrible. But now you can, with this knobby, which is kind of weird because you'd assume the knobby would not be as carvy, but I guess it has that slightly higher profile. Because now you can have so much fun on it. And it does grip a lot better. Now I just want to demonstrate you what 25 kilos means in, I guess, the world of EUC. What it means is you can pick this up with one hand, and I can lift this and I can put it in the car, and it's just not, you know, it's just not a hassle. Now talking about the wheel itself, the rim is 10 inches and the knobby tire is 15 by 3, and it is a tubeless setup, so it's a lot easier to fix out in the wild. You can plug it and fill it back up with air, and that does lend itself to its lightweight nature. You do save a few grams there with the tubeless setup. Now the other really big plus that I want to mention on the Falcon is its pedal height. I've ridden a couple of suspension wheels recently, and I've felt worried about my pedals clipping when I've gone on bush rides, or through bush trails, narrow ones, and you can't see those roots sticking out and so on. The pedal height on this, and I'll put it on the screen, whatever it is, because I don't know off the top of my head. The pedal height on the Falcon is just, it feels really nice and high, which does give you a lot of confidence when you're cruising on those little skinny trails and you're not sure what's to the left and to the right in the grass. You don't want to clip it. But it also means you can really do some tight turns without getting pedal scrape. So that's a really nice turning circle. And that was prevalent or obvious even with the street tire on. But it was just once you got up to that 20 kilometer speed that the street tire really just sort of wasn't enjoyable to ride. Whereas the knobby seems to be good at all speeds. All right, let's stop up here in the shade, and I'm going to tell you about the one thing that frustrates me about the way the Falcon has been designed. The only way you can adjust the rebound and compression is by removing this top panel. So what you do is you need to get your suspension, put your new spring in, ride it without the top panel and kind of adjust it to what you want, and then put the panel on. If you want to adjust it, if you want to go to the track and soften up that rebound a little bit, you need to take this top panel off. Now it's not the end of the world, but it would be nice if there was a little knob here like we see on the Pattern, the Sherman, the Lynx and so on. That's my one gripe with this wheel. Let's end the video there. Any comments or questions, as always, chuck them down below. If you live in Australia and you want to get one, obviously check out E-Riders. That's where I work. Scott D will give you, I think, 50 bucks off. And if you want to see any more if you want to see more EUCs on the channel, make sure you thumbs up and comment which wheel you want me to focus on next, because there's loads coming out and I can get my hands on most of them.
Scotty. Who's Scotty?